A new D&D Live? We almost got Strahd in a video game and a brand new D&D campaign setting book. Kind of.
Explain yourself.
Welcome to Tabletop News Tuesday, our first news rundown of the week. Today we're talking about a ton of D&D news, plus a Wheel of Time story and some Dead by Daylight context. Now remember, if you like these kinds of news videos, keep with the liking and the subscribing so we can keep making. Now, on to the news.
Issue number 1 is the first issue we're going to talk about.
Dungeons & Dragons is getting a new campaign setting book. Sort of. 10 Speed Press has announced Worlds and Realms, a new 400-page book that explores the D&D multiverse through the eyes of Mordenkainen. The book is written by Adam Lee and also features new stories by Jasmine Bhullar, Jeffrey Golden, Jody Hauser and Eric Campbell, and Jaylee Johnson. Hey, we've interviewed her! Now this seems to be a coffee table style book in the vein of Art and Arcana, although with an emphasis on the lore of D&D rather than its history. Now this new book goes on sale on October 29th and can be pre-ordered, well, now.
Oh, how convenient!
The classic board game Talisman is getting a new edition. Last week, Avalon Hill announced that it would be releasing a 5th edition of the classic fantasy board game, which sees players attempt to complete quests and grab magic items in order to head into increasingly more and more dangerous realms. Now, the interesting thing about this announcement is that it marks the first time that Avalon Hill has published Talisman. The game was originally made by Games Workshop and then was licensed to Fantasy Flight Games. Now, the new edition will be released on July 1st. We should have some more details about how this game wound up on Avalon Hill's slate, and Avalon Hill, for those of you who don't know, is actually a subsidiary of Hasbro and is related to Wizards of the Coast. But anyways, we should know a little bit more about this new edition and how it differs from past editions next month.
Check this out.
The game director of Dead by Daylight almost used Strahd for the upcoming D&D crossover. In a recent interview with Slasher Radio Podcast, game director Matthew Coates said that Dead by Daylight initially considered using Strahd, the vampire from Ravenloft, as the killer for a new D&D themed Dead by Daylight chapter. However, that idea was abandoned when Castlevania became available to use in the game, since Strahd, of course, would likely be overshadowed by Dracula. Kind of makes sense. In the end, DBD used Vecna instead, which honestly makes a lot more sense, given the recent release of Vecna Eve of Ruin.
Sure, yeah, that makes sense.
The Wheel of Time's 3rd season will almost certainly come out in 2025. Recent reports that Rosamund Pike was cast in Now You See Me 3, yes, that cool magic movie is getting yet another sequel, was followed up with mentions by both The Hollywood Reporter and Variety that a 3rd season of The Wheel of Time would be released in 2025. This isn't exactly a surprise, given that Rings of Power is coming out later this year, and that Amazon likes to space out its releases in general and seems to want to alternate its major fantasy releases on a year-to-year basis, but it's still good to know when to expect this new season.
It's about damn time.
Dragonsteel 2024 sold out in less than an hour, proving that being a Brandon Sander fan is becoming more and more common. All 7,500 tickets to the annual Brandon Sanderson themed meetup/convention sold out last week, with Sanderson's team explaining that they previously tried to get more space but were rebuffed by the Salt Palace Convention Center. Similarly, Brotherwise Games' Cosmere themed events also sold out at GenCon, although you can still expect plenty of coverage from the character sheet about the Stormlight RPG when more details are announced.
Come on, give me it.
And finally, speaking of GenCon, D&D Live is returning. Kind of. Earlier this month, D&D revealed its plans for GenCon, and it included a mysteriously named D&D Live event that appears to be an actual play event with a star-studded cast. Now, the cast itself will be announced in July, along with more details about what we can expect there. Now, this will be the first D&D Live themed or named event since 2021, and you may recall that for a while D&D Live was kind of the D&D's showcase, where celebrities and folks from the TTRPG space played through the newest stuff from Wizards of the Coast. Now, D&D will also be discussing the new VTT at GenCon, marking the first time in over a year that the expensive and pretty cool looking digital system has been mentioned. Also, it appears that we'll be getting another Greyhawk themed adventure will be coming out as a D&D Open, with Yolandi, the Elf Queen, calling players to thwart an evil presence that has taken root near an infamous old site, and players can play through the D&D Open over the course of 3 sessions that run throughout Gen Con weekend. And of course, this will be a scored event, and you can, try to win prizes, I guess. Anyways, you can sign up for all that stuff over on Gen Con's website. Well, that's all the news that we have for today. Let us know what your favorite story was in the comment section, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons.